In the peaceful community of New Ash Green in Kent, England, resided 46-year-old Sarah Wellgreen, a devoted mother of five, who worked diligently as a beautician. The close-knit post-war development fostered a strong sense of community where Sarah had built her life, surrounded by people who cared for her. Her mother, Anne, often spoke of how Sarah cared deeply for others, consistently defending those who couldn't stand up for themselves. Sarah maintained close relationships with her family members, regularly meeting them for lunch, shopping excursions, and holiday trips. To her five children, who were the center of her world, she was a dedicated mother who made special efforts for birthdays and celebrations. Two of her sons, Jack and Lewis, were from a previous relationship, while the other three children she shared with Ben Lacomba, her former partner. Sarah and Ben's story began in December 2004, when they met through a dating website. Ben, who was born in Greenwich, had moved to Majorca with aspirations of becoming a pilot. After making a positive impression on Sarah's two sons, she decided to leave her job and relocate with her boys to Majorca to begin anew with Ben. Unfortunately, their happiness proved short-lived. Sarah's inability to speak Spanish prevented her from finding employment, and this combined with homesickness created difficulties for her. Ben's dreams of becoming a pilot also remained unfulfilled, leading him to work at the airport instead. Eventually, they decided to return to the United Kingdom. After welcoming their first child together, they settled into a 4-bedroom home at 22 Bays Shore in New Ash Green. Ben began working as a taxi driver, while Sarah continued her career as a beauty therapist. However, the relationship started showing signs of strain as they argued frequently. When Sarah ultimately decided to end the relationship, Ben responded by forcing her and her two sons to leave the home while keeping their three shared children with him. The following morning, Ben arranged a court hearing where he claimed Sarah had abandoned her children, resulting in him being awarded custody. Sarah, unaware of what was transpiring, was unable to defend herself and was devastated by the outcome. Sarah and her two eldest children moved in with her mother and stepfather. The family carefully saved money to consult a solicitor for legal advice. Their efforts proved successful when in August 2016, Sarah was granted full custody of the children. Around this time, Sarah's personal life took a positive turn when she met Neil James through a dating application. Their relationship flourished and eventually led to an engagement. However, Sarah worried that if she moved in with Neil, Ben would contest custody of their children. In 2018, Sarah proposed that she and Ben live together in the house and co-parent their children, despite their romantic relationship having ended, an arrangement her family had advised against. Recognizing this wasn't ideal. Due to the lingering emotional tension, Sarah decided to purchase Ben's share of the house. On October 9, 2018, Sarah took her children to school in the morning before heading to work to meet with clients. She was notably excited about securing a new higher-paying position. Around 8 in the evening, Sarah was seen arriving home. She sent several text messages, including one to Neil, and another to a friend that read, "There's always something to look forward to. You've just got to open your eyes and dream." Her final text message was sent at 10 o'clock before she retired for the night. The following day held special significance as it was one of her children's birthdays, an occasion for which Sarah had made preparations as usual. When morning arrived, Neil sent her a text message, but Sarah didn't respond. As hours passed without any response from her, Neil reached out to Ben to inquire if he had seen her. Ben replied that he thought Sarah was with Neil, as he hadn't seen her either. Neil contacted Sarah's family to explain that he had been trying to reach Sarah since morning without success. Sarah occasionally forgot to charge her phone or inadvertently left it in her car, so her mother also attempted to call her, but like Neil, couldn't make contact. One of Sarah's sons used text messages social media and called her work phone, trying to elicit a response, but there was still no word from Sarah. By the following day, she still hadn't returned home. Her mother persisted in trying to reach her, but as Sarah continued to remain unresponsive, her mother knew something was seriously wrong. Everyone grew increasingly concerned for her welfare, and they agreed that if she hadn't made contact or returned home by the next day, they would notify the police. 48 hours had passed since anyone had seen Sarah Welgreen, and she still hadn't communicated with anyone. Ben contacted the police, saying, "I want to report a missing person. She lives with me. She's my children's mom. We're not together. We just live together. She came home Tuesday night, and then we all went to bed. And then when me and the kids woke up in the morning, she wasn't there." DCI Ivan Beasley, senior investigating officer with Kent Police, was assigned to investigate Sarah's disappearance. Ben informed the officers that after Sarah had arrived home on the 9th, he had put the children to bed and retired to his room in the loft conversion while she went to her room on the first floor. He explained that when he awoke the next morning, Sarah wasn't home, though her car remained parked in its usual spot. Given that it was one of their children's birthdays, he said he had expected her to return. A missing persons investigation promptly commenced, and when Sarah's bedroom was searched, something immediately stood out to investigators. All of her personal belongings were still there, including her money bank cards, keys, and handbag. For DCI Ivan Beasley, this was extremely concerning, as these weren't items Sarah would typically leave behind. Since her car keys were still at the house, one theory considered was that perhaps she had gone for a run or walk and suffered an injury, leaving her unable to seek help. A 5-mile search radius was established around Sarah's home, encompassing fields and woodlands, in an effort to locate her. Hospitals were also checked to determine if she had been admitted to any of them. Despite this extensive search, there was still no sign of Sarah, and phone records didn't indicate she had arranged to meet anyone that evening. DCI Ivan Beasley noted Ben Lacomba's demeanor during this time, observing that Ben didn't appear particularly concerned. The way he was presenting to us was described to me by my officers as quite odd. He didn't really want to engage with us. He didn't really want us at the house, which for somebody who had reported Sarah missing, he didn't seem to be acting in that way, the detective recalled. Officers also discovered that Sarah's family had needed to pressure Ben into contacting the police initially. Sarah's son utilized social media to spread the word, and the close-knit community immediately rallied together to search for her. Hundreds of local residents came forward to assist. One of the volunteers, Sharon Brine, remarked on Ben Lacomba's behavior. "We were very baffled with Ben when during day 3 or 4 of our searching, he went into the village office to book the village hall, and we thought it was completely bizarre. There's half the village looking for the mother of his children, and he's trying to arrange a kids' game in the village." When Sarah's 2 oldest children attempted to visit their siblings, they were told they weren't permitted to do so. Lacomba had taken the 3 youngest children to his aunt's house and had also initiated court proceedings to gain custody of them. DCI Beasley noted, within a few days of her disappearance, Ben had gone to the family court and was trying to have an urgent meeting so he could have primary custody of the children. To generate leads, the police issued a public appeal for information about Sarah. As days continued to pass, without any sign of her concerns, escalated that she might have met with foul play. Detective Superintendent Paul Fotheringham stated, "We have experts with specialist technology and forensic scientists working with us to try and find Sarah." Police spoke with Ben again to better understand the dynamics of the family home. He told them that Sarah would often disappear without informing anyone to meet other people. The police also visited Neil's residence to search the property and ask additional questions, as he was among the last individuals to have contact with her. Neil explained that he had called Sarah at 9:24 p.m. on the night she was last seen. They conversed for approximately 15 minutes and then exchanged a few text messages before saying goodnight. Phone records confirmed this account, and since Neil was at home with his daughter at the time, he suggested the police check the M25 cameras to verify he hadn't driven to Sarah's location. His story checked out, and Neil was cleared of suspicion. A week had now passed since Sarah Welgreen had seemingly vanished. Police decided to examine local camera footage, which involved searching through more than 15,000 hours of recordings. Around 2 a.m. on October 10th, coinciding with the time Sarah went missing, CCTV cameras captured a car driving in the area. One of the images showed a vehicle with a logo on the driver's side door, similar to the red taxi driven by Ben Lacombe, which also had a logo on the driver's door. To ensure accuracy, police brought in an expert to compare his vehicle with the grainy image from the footage. The expert determined that the footage indeed showed Ben's vehicle, and approximately 2 hours after it was first recorded on CCTV, the same vehicle was seen returning. This appeared to contradict Ben's statement that he had been at home in bed when Sarah disappeared. The home had an extensive CCTV system operated from Ben's bedroom, allowing him to monitor activities throughout the house. DCI Beasley described it as quite an elaborate setup. He had cameras at the side, at the front, and at the back of his house, all controlled by a system kept in his bedroom, which was in the converted attic part of the house. When they reviewed footage from the day Sarah vanished, they observed Ben returning home with no one else entering the property before Sarah's arrival. The neighboring house also had security cameras, which contained 3 months' worth of footage to review. They could see that the CCTV camera from Ben and Sarah's home had been operating almost constantly in the period leading up to Sarah's disappearance. The footage from the neighbor's house showed the infrared lights from Ben's cameras and also revealed that after midnight on the day she was last seen, Ben's cameras had been switched off. Ben claimed that the files from his home cameras weren't usable because they had been corrupted, and that the complex system actually hadn't been functioning properly for the past year. Another significant piece of footage showed Ben returning home with his vehicle in a clean condition after taking the children to school. The following day, the car was again captured on CCTV, this time with mud and dirt on the sides and wheels. Around 10:30, he went to the office where his taxi company operated, and when the car arrived, there the dirt was gone. Another detail that stood out to investigators was that after reviewing the neighbor's camera footage, they learned Ben always parked his car in the same spot until the night Sarah disappeared. That night, he parked at the back of the property in an area not covered by the neighbor's CCTV. As detectives searched woodland near Sarah's home, police announced that her disappearance had evolved into a potential murder investigation. She just had a new job offer that she was looking forward to. She talked to friends about looking forward to the future, officers noted. Following extensive investigations and inquiries and also searching, we're now treating this as a potential homicide investigation. The task confronting the officers was immense. They didn't know where Ben had driven that night or what had occurred during that 2-hour window, and Sarah still hadn't been found. Police believed that he had murdered Sarah and then transported her body to another location. On December 20th, authorities made the decision to arrest Ben Lacombe on suspicion of murdering Sarah Welgreen. He was taken to the police station for questioning. "You are under arrest today on suspicion of the murder of your ex-partner. We believe she may be dead, and that may be at your hand. So did you kill her?" Over the next 7 hours, Lacombe was interviewed by investigators. He remained silent, refusing to answer any questions posed to him. During a search of the house, a shovel that appeared to be brand new was discovered in the garden shed. Investigators needed to locate Sarah, determine the cause of death, and prove that Ben Lacombe had deliberately committed this act. Specialists from fire service and marine units across the country joined the extensive search efforts to find Sarah, including areas of the Thames and land near the Blue Water Shopping Center. Roads were closed while searches were conducted, and 1,400 sites were examined, but none led to the discovery of Sarah's body. Nevertheless, based on the case that had been built on December 28, 2018, Ben Lacombe was charged with the murder of Sarah Welgreen. The trial of Ben Lacombe began at Woolwich Crown Court. Prosecutor Alex Morgan QC noted in a documentary about the case, having a trial with nobody present creates unique challenges. One pivotal moment for the prosecution involved revealing a conversation Ben had with police several days before his arrest. They had requested his phone, and he signed the consent form, but then refused to give permission for deleted data to be retrieved. He told them he would provide it the following day at the station because it was late, and he wanted to go to bed, but CCTV showed that Ben hadn't gone to bed. His car was spotted parked by the River Thames later that night, seemingly disposing of something that police believed was his mobile phone. After Sarah's disappearance, Lacombe was captured on CCTV in a shop purchasing a new phone of the exact same model into which he inserted his old SIM card. DCI Beasley observed, "Usually, we get a lot of cooperation from people, especially when there are concerns for a loved one. But actually, Ben was more interested in the information we could retrieve from his phone and refused to give us his phone." Another aspect of the case that prosecutors argued demonstrated planning was the hours between his departure from the address and his return, suggesting he had already selected a location to conceal Sarah's body. Regarding the shovel found during the search, the defense contended it was there for his mother to tend to the flowers in front of the house. However, the flowers at the home didn't require such a large shovel, supporting the theory that it might have been used to dig a grave. Alison Morgan, QC, from the prosecution, described the idea that he had purchased what she termed a gravedigger shovel as a gift for his mother as complete nonsense. Throughout the trial, additional information emerged that provided a clearer picture of Ben and Sarah's relationship. When she arrived home from work on October 9th, she informed Ben of her plan to buy his share of the house as her new job would put her in a financial position to do so. This meant that Ben Lacombe was losing control in multiple ways, and if Sarah were to leave him permanently and sell the house, he would have been left with virtually nothing. The judge, jury counsel, court clerk, and ushers were escorted by police to the family home to help them contextualize the evidence and understand the layout of the residence, including the intricate CCTV system. Defense barrister Rebecca Trowler, QC, concluded their case by saying, "What I ask of you is a lot less than what the prosecution asks. They are asking you to convict a 39-year-old man with no criminal convictions, not even cautions, of the carefully planned murder of the mother of his children. That is a big ask." After 30 days of trial, the jury retired to deliberate. On October 28, 2019, Ben Lacombe was found guilty of the murder of Sarah Welgreen. He received a life sentence with a minimum term of 27 years. Ben Lacombe showed no remorse or emotion, as he was sentenced to life imprisonment for the murder of his ex-partner, Sarah Welgreen. He will serve a minimum of 27 years for killing the mother of 5 at the home they shared in New Ash Green, and won't be eligible for release until he is at least 66 years old. After the trial, her eldest son Louis, speaking on behalf of the family, expressed hope that Lacombe would never be released unless he revealed the location of Sarah's body. "As far as the law is concerned, justice has been served for Sarah. We hope he will never be released unless he admits his guilt and reveals the location of her grave." To date, he has shown no remorse or care for either Sarah or his own children. Because Ben Lacombe has refused to reveal the location of Sarah's body, we, her family, have been unable to mourn Sarah's passing or lay her to rest in peace. Since Lacombe has refused to disclose what happened to Sarah or where she is, his continued unwillingness to provide this information could result in a longer imprisonment under Helen's Law. Named after murder victim Helen McCourt, Helen's Law makes killers ineligible for parole if they do not tell police where they've hidden a victim's body. This legislation followed the tireless campaigning of Marie McCourt, mother of Helen, a 22-year-old insurance clerk who was murdered in 1988. Her murderer, Ian Sims, never revealed the location of her body. The petition calling for Helen's Law garnered more than 600,000 signatures and high-level government support. In November 2020, Helen's Law received royal assent. Under this law, killers could still be released if no longer deemed a risk to the public, even if they refuse to disclose information. But the parole board will be legally required to consider whether they have cooperated with inquiries as part of their assessment. One of Sarah's elder sons reflected, "There's still that missing piece, and it will always be like that because there'll always be that missing piece because of what he has done. I believe he's withholding that because that's the only sort of power he has left." Sarah's ex-husband also shared his thoughts on wanting her body to be found. "Sarah was very bubbly, outgoing, and she obviously knew what she wanted in life, and she would do anything to achieve that. And I think she would have achieved it if she was still here. When I heard that she had gone missing at first, I thought maybe she'd turn up, but she didn't. And it's very sad. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. If they can find a body, it would give closure to the family and myself because I was still friends with Sarah." In the year following her disappearance, nearly 3,000 potential locations were identified, but none led to Sarah. The community in New Ash Green has never abandoned their search for Sarah Welgreen. They have stated they will never cease looking for her. And a Facebook page called Search for Sarah Welgreen was established to aid in these efforts. For those who knew and loved Sarah, The pain of not knowing where she is and what happened to her remains profound. Sarah's family hopes that one day Lacombe will reveal her whereabouts so that she can finally be brought home and laid to rest.